Meet Lily, the potential brawler. She had the potential to be the greatest designed assassin, and even one of the best designs in the game. She's uniquely designed in such a way that ties her perfectly into her assassin class. Yet, there's a reason I said potential and not actual. Her reliance on unlockables is almost second to none, and in this video we'll take a look at where exactly Supercell went wrong with Lily, and what could possibly be done to fix it, if anything. If you want a fun place to talk about Brawl Stars, join our Discord server. Link will be in the description. Also, make sure to subscribe to keep up with the PowerPoints. Finally, if you want to help support the channel, become a member. You also get to choose new PowerPoint brawlers and help me out, as my members chose Lily to be the third mythic. I want to try and cut out the filler from my videos, so I'll only mention stats that I feel are important, as well as only the important unlockables. Lily has pretty good health for an assassin, having 8400. She has 2 ammo and a very fast reload speed, but this wasn't always the case, which we'll talk about later. Finally, and this is very important, her attack range is a pathetic 2 tiles, basically one of the worst ranges in the game. However, the hitbox of the attack is a little weird, so sometimes it might feel like it's over 2 tiles. As for her super, what's interesting about it is that it teleports Lily behind the enemy, truly giving her the title of Backstabber. She also charges her super with a radius similar to someone like Buzz or Cordelius, with a range of 6 tiles. With the basics out of the way, let's get to actually talking about Lily. When considering her design, it is quite representative of the assassin class as a whole. She's all about getting her super, singling out a target, preferably a low health one, and then taking them out. In theory, this is great, but it's only that, theory. The problem for this process when it comes to Lily can be traced to one thing, her approach tool, or lack thereof. See, assassins are known for their mobility, and of course, their ability to approach enemies extremely easily. Mortis can do it with his main attack, Fang can do it with his super, Buzz can do it with his super, and you get the point. Each of these assassins has their reliable way of getting to enemies. So what about Lily? Well, you might think that her super would be her main approach tool, as it lets her get to enemies. Well, you're not wrong, but you're not right either. Yes, it's her main approach tool, but it's also not an approach tool that she can easily use. It's quite difficult for her to reliably get her super. Her range is completely awful, and her super charge radius is solid, but not good enough for her to easily get her super. And more importantly, quickly get her super. Now, you might say, why not carry the same energy for someone like Cord or Buzz? Well, Cord's range is 5.33 tiles, so it's much easier for him to get super. With Buzz, it's twofold. His health is high enough to allow him to tank more than Lily can, and he has nearly a tile more range than her. So, overall, he doesn't have the same super problems as she does. Her range is awful, and her health is not big enough to be able to use as a tanking mechanism. But the problem doesn't even end there. Even when she gets her super, it's not perfect. The mechanic of her appearing behind the enemy is really cool, and it does take enemies by surprise like a true assassin. But that's not the problem. The problem comes from the fact that her super isn't usable against non-targets. What does this mean? When you use Buzz's super or Fang's super on something like a wall, you will travel the distance to the wall and hit it. When you use Lily's super on a wall, it simply won't work. How does this matter? Well, with Buzz and Fang, they can use it to get close to enemies even without directly engaging them, something Lily can't do. Furthermore, even if they miss an enemy, they can still hit the wall and move. And with Fang, he can still travel the distance even without hitting a wall, which is very useful for him. Lily can't do this, and so her super aiming is much more important, as if she misses, she's going to have to completely recharge her super. So now we can establish that Lily by herself is mediocre at actually being able to approach enemies. We can also establish that her super alone isn't exactly enough, or at least as good as other assassin supers at approaching enemies, or at the very least, pure mobility. So this leaves us at a point where Lily desperately needs a way to get close to enemies in order to charge her super, and not miss it. Well, there's something perfect for this, and more, that was given to Lily. So what is this? What else but Vanish? Yep, it's time to address the Pam in the room. Vanish sees Lily enter the Shadow Realm for 3 seconds. Seems pretty simple, right? Yet, this single gadget has basically ruined Lily's entire design. But why? Well, from what I said last slide, we can see that Lily needs an approach tool that isn't her super. And this is exactly that. The Shadow Realm basically allows Lily to push without any consequence at all. Usually, when brawlers like tanks or assassins want to push up, they'll probably have to suffer, losing some health. A perfect example is Buzz. His large health is so that he can push up and suffer the health loss without getting cooked. With the Vanish gadget, however, Lily can push up and not have to deal with any health consequences. Even worse is that it suddenly becomes a surprise as to where she lands. With nearly every other assassin in the game, their approach tool is clear as day. You can see Buzz super to you, or Fang. The only real exception is Leon, who uses invisibility, but that comes from his super, not a gadget he needs no skill to use. But anyway, this makes it so that Lily can infiltrate enemy lines and bushes extremely easily, and completely disrupt enemy positioning. The game might be going super well for your team, but then a Lily could literally appear from the bush right next to you, kill you, and start supering your teammates. One gadget could basically cause the game to be turned on its head. At worst, enemy positioning is disrupted, and your team can push up. At best, you can team wipe their entire team. And all this from a single gadget. And that's not all, however. Vanish is also great for defensive purposes. Find yourself in a sticky situation and you're at low health? Why not just pop your gadget and leave to a space spot with almost no consequences? Mandy about to hypercharge super you? Why not pop your gadget and leave to a safe spot with almost no consequences? There's genuinely so much value that Vanish has in way too many situations. Sure, it does have its drawbacks. You have to use it smartly or you might end up in a sticky situation, like right next to someone like a Shelly or a Hank with super. However, as long as you're aware of your surroundings and can accurately predict enemy movement, the value Vanish gives is simply way too good. And this lends to a situation where Lily relies on Vanish to be viable. Without it, Lily struggles to actually get close to enemies, and of course, get away from enemies. She requires extremely risky gameplay to actually get her super. And even her super isn't a great approach tool, and definitely not a great escape tool. But guess what's both a great approach tool and escape tool? Vanish, of course. So now, we're in a position where Lily basically can't properly function with Vanish. You might ask, what about her other unlockables? Rebound is okay, but the main problem is the projectile speed, which is way too slow for it to be consistently viable. Her Vigilance star power is pretty solid for mobility, but it has its limitations, such as the range and the fact that the only thing it really gives Lily is a 15% speed bump. In combo with Vanish, it's quite good, but by itself, it's not enough to replace the value that Vanish gives to Lily. So what could be done to fix Lily's reliance on Vanish? Well, that's not an easy question to answer. Something like making Vigilance baseline with a 5 to 10% nerf instead could work, I suppose. Something else I think could be interesting for Lily is a whiff mechanic like Gigi, who suffered from a sort of similar problem to Lily, but her whiff mechanic actually allows her to consistently get her super as long as she's skilled at dodging, which could help out Lily as well. However, the problem with balancing is that at this point, Vanish is taken into account as part of her base kit when the devs balance her. It's so deeply ingrained into her kit, it'll be difficult to actually do something about it. Furthermore, Lily is one of the strongest brawlers in the game currently, being an established A-tier brawler, being an absolute ball against certain matchups, as well as having a pretty solid hypercharge. You can't just outright buff her mobility in other ways or she's going to become completely broken. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what a Lily rework could look like in the comments without breaking her. Finally, I want to talk about briefly release Lily. Interestingly, she had a single ammo and was quite awful. Having a single ammo as an assassin was never going to work, and it didn't work this time. However, the way Brawl Stars handled it was interesting. The next update, they gave her an entire second ammo, and to offset it, they nerfed her super and literally nothing else. To nobody's surprise, she became an absolute menace right after this balance change, and they had to give her several emergency nerfs. Overall, Lily is one of the biggest what-if brawlers in the game. Throughout her history, Brawl Stars have made some, well, interesting decisions with her. From her ammo issues at the start, and now her Vanish issues, it seems like they can never really get her into a balanced position. Which is a shame really, as Lily had the potential of being one of the most interesting brawlers in the game, and definitely one of the most interesting assassins. Thanks to Newglance and Hank=NoSkill for helping me out with this video, and as always, thanks for watching. Watch this video, or this playlist, or join the Discord server.